Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down what has to be one of the most fiercely debated, tactically complex, and honestly, just utterly thrilling battles we've ever analyzed. Seriously, this isn't just your standard test of who hits harder. No, this is the ultimate clash of mind, extreme risk, and crazy adaptation. We're talking Satoru Gojo versus Ryomen Sukuna. By sticking strictly to the source material, we're going to strip away all the flashy stuff and look purely at the mechanics, the deep psychology, and the hidden strategies that completely define this legendary confrontation.
So to really get what happened here, we need a roadmap. We'll be hitting the illusion of dominance, the domain expansion clash, Sukuna's hidden adaptation strategy, that insane hollow purple fakeout, the exact mechanics of the world slash, and finally we'll wrap up with innate power versus experience. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Illusion of Dominance.
When this fight first kicked off, the pacing was entirely, and I mean entirely, dictated by Satoru Gojo. From literally the very first exchange, he was just pressing the gas pedal to the floor. In close quarters combat, Gojo was demonstrably faster, just showing overwhelming hand-to-hand superiority. And then add to that his defensive technique, Infinity. It completely blocked any direct hits, leaving Sukuna seemingly unable to land a single solid blow. And offensively? Oh man, he was unleashing these devastating combos of his blue, red, and hollow purple techniques, inflicting some really serious visible damage.
Because of this overwhelming display of raw power and speed, Gojo completely controlled the tempo. Watching this unfold in real time, the audience, and honestly pretty much everyone observing within the narrative itself, was absolutely convinced that Gojo was the superior fighter. He was totally defining the flow of the battle. It looked like pure brute force dominance. But, well, as we're about to see, pulling back the curtain reveals a very, very different reality.
Section 2. The Domain Expansion Clash.
Now this is where we transition from high-speed brawling into a super technical phase where both fighters push their absolute limits. Let's compare their ultimate techniques side by side. Gojo's unlimited void works by overloading the opponent's brain with infinite information. It's a highly lethal direct one-on-one effect. Basically, if you get caught in it, you're instantly paralyzed. Now Sukuna's Malevolent Shrine, on the other hand, is a technical masterpiece. It's barrierless. That means it doesn't trap you in a closed space, but rather paints this massive area with relentless, invisible slashing attacks. So we've got a lethal mental overload going right up against a technically masterful physical area of effect meat grinder.
During these intense, back-and-forth domain clashes, they both pushed each other to the absolute brink. But there was one absolutely critical moment where Gojo managed to land his domain's effect for just a fraction of a second. This one represents the severe, singular instance of brain damage Sukuna suffered right then. When this happened, fans everywhere were totally convinced he was losing. I mean, his domain collapsed, his brain was damaged, but what everyone missed in that moment was that Sukuna was actually holding on to a terrifyingly patient secret plan.
Section 3. Sukuna's Hidden Adaptation Strategy.
Okay, we need to completely shift our perspective here, because Sukuna was never actually trying to win a pure brute force slugfest. He was utilizing a Shikigami named Mahoraga. This is a creature whose entire existence is based on adaptation. Just look at this logical loop. Step 1. Sukuna intentionally takes damage. Step 2. This allows Mahoraga, who is waiting in the shadows, to experience and analyze Gojo's seemingly impenetrable infinity barrier. Step 3. Mahoraga formulates a countermeasure. Let that sink in. Sukuna was deliberately risking massive, totally unnecessary damage just to feed data to his adaptation engine. He was buying time.
Now what's really interesting about this is the core revelation of Sukuna's genius. It's one thing to summon a monster to fight for you, right? But Sukuna didn't just use the Shikigami as a weapon. He observed it, learned from it, and actually copied its underlying logic of adaptation. This is the true mark of his terrifying jujutsu intellect. He didn't just want Mahoraga to break the shield for him. He wanted Mahoraga to show him exactly how to break it himself.
Section 4. The Hollow Purple Fakeout. All of that terrifying patience leads right into a massive spike in energy, the absolute climax of Gojo's offensive output. Gojo unleashes this improvised, incredibly destructive hollow purple that literally wipes out a huge portion of the battlefield. The dust settles, and Sukuna has taken incredibly heavy damage. Mahoraga is severely damaged. Gojo stands tall, practically declaring his own dominance. To the audience and the characters watching, this looked exactly like the definitive ultimate victory moment for Gojo.
But we have to stop and ask, did Gojo actually win? The answer, hidden right beneath the rubble and the apparent defeat, was no. Because by surviving that devastating hit, Sukuna obtained exactly what he needed:
The long con had finally paid off. Mahoraga had completed its adaptation right before being destroyed, and in doing so, it provided Sukuna with the blueprint, the definitive solution to bypassing Gojo's infinity. The trap was finally sprung.
Section 5. Mechanics of the World Slash.
So, the crucial point is, how did he actually do it? Let's break down the mechanics of that final, fatal attack. Drawing directly from Mahoraga's adapted logic, Sukuna realized that as long as Gojo's infinity existed, targeting Gojo's physical body was completely useless. So he just changed the target. The World Slash is an attack that doesn't target the opponent at all. Instead, it literally cuts the very fabric of space, existence, and reality itself.
I mean, really think about the absolute shock value of this. Gojo's absolute defense, this barrier of infinite space between him and any attack, suddenly means absolutely nothing. By targeting space itself, the infinity barrier becomes completely useless because the literal space the barrier occupies is what's being cleaved in two. It was a mechanical, cold, and incredibly calculated bypass of an otherwise impenetrable shield.
Section 6. Innate power versus experience.
Let's take a step back and look at the big picture here. When we analyze this fight, we're really looking at a massive thematic collision. On one side, Satoru Gojo represents the peak of the modern era. His advantages rely heavily on innate, absolute power. We're talking overwhelming raw strength and blinding speed. On the other side, Ryomen Sukuna is the historic peak. His victory was constructed entirely through battle IQ, meticulous risk management, and his incredible ability to adapt and learn on the fly. It was literally a millennium of calculated, tactical patience going head-to-head against modern, absolute, innate strength.
And that brings us to the final, highly debated question drawn right from our source analysis. Could Sukuna have won without Mahoraga? Now, some argue Gojo's sheer power would have eventually overwhelmed him. Others argue a genius like Sukuna would simply have found another entirely different path to victory. It's a debate that perfectly encapsulates this incredible clash of logic versus absolute power. So what do you think? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning the details.